the five biggest mistakes people make when learning English. Here we are with teacher Marcelo, teacher Akira, and teacher Nicholas, and they will help you to reach your goal. So, what is, in your opinion, Marcelo, the one of the biggest mistakes people make when they learn English?
I would say like probably this is very high on the list. I know we are not doing it in order, but I think not listening enough. Many people they tend to focus more on actually trying to speak or doing a bunch of exercises, fill the blanks and stuff. They focus too much on grammar and like speak like in a proper way, in a proper grammar way. But really, this does. I mean, it helps to a certain extent, but overall, I would say that people should focus more on listening because when you listen to a video, let's say a YouTube video, like you get a lot of vocabulary that is very specific to what you were watching. Also, you get a lot of new expressions, new I don't know, maybe some phrasal verbs, some grammar stuff you can analyze, and also you get used to the way that the person talk, the way that the person constructs the sentences, the structure overall. You can really pay attention to those details and like by I don't know, you just when you're going to speak, when it's actually time to speak, you start copying, like even if you're not thinking about it, you will copy some words, some vocabulary, some ways of talking. And I used to do this a lot. I would pick like a random YouTube video about a subject that I was interested in, and then I would just watch it, and afterwards I would try to talk a little bit about the video, like okay, let me like let me try give my opinion. And usually I would always I ended up using some words, some even some sentences, whole sentences that okay, in this case, like I think the same thing as the person who is talking in the video. So I would just use like the same structures and same everything, and and that way really this really worked to me, for me I should say. And I all of a sudden, like I was speaking but without actually practicing that much speaking. So to me, I think like this is the biggest thing. I think people should learn more, and not like you don't need to watch like a whole movie every day, just like 10-15 minutes, just like short videos, not like that short, like YouTube shorts or like short form content, but like I don't know, clips of podcasts, some TV shows, like some interviews, stuff that is easy to understand. And like don't worry too much about understanding everything, but because you won't be able to understand everything at first. So just give it a try and just get used to the language, and like but as a consequence, you will get good at talking, at expressing yourself. So I think I would point out not listening enough as being one of the like the biggest problems that people face while learning English. So yeah, people listen more.
Yeah, I think it's interesting you said about the like copying what people do, and I don't know about you guys, Akira and Nicholas, but we get some traits of the I don't know YouTube people that we watch and stuff. And Nicholas, what's that about you? Like what type of traits do you get from YouTube videos, and also you think your students are getting maybe from you in your classes or content that they consume?
To me, at first, it was like, and I like, you know,
Interesting.
I
Yeah, a lot
started
of videos that
saying
I
this,
watch, they use like as comma every day,
yeah,
and
because I watch most like people my age. I watch that's you know the biggest chunk of content that I watch. People are almost every time my age, and I have one student particularly that I think he got this from me because he didn't use it, at first in our classes, and then he's now like, yeah, like, and like, and I think this is really funny.
In my
it's
case, I think the word was stuff. I tend to use a lot of stuff this, stuff that, like stuff, instead of things. And usually people tend to copy this from me. So yeah, this is my
which is great actually. I have my students. I remember the first school I taught. A lot of the teachers used to say, "Good morning, how are you?" And I was like the first guy started that started saying, or started the day saying, "How you doing?" or "How's it going?" Everybody was shocked, saying like what do you mean, like what are you doing? Everybody says how are you here in Brazil, you should say the same thing. And I was like, no, it's the most natural way to say hi in most of the countries. And Akira, what is like for you, like what do you think is the biggest mistake people make when they learn English and etc.?
I think one of the most common mistakes is understanding that fluency has four pillars to it, and that is reading, writing, listening, and speaking. And a lot of people, what they will do is they'll become really good at one of these things and then never touch the others again. People that will speak very confidently, but will never learn how to write in that language, and as a result, they can make a lot of grammar mistakes and similar things. The fluency will really come just from understanding all four of those, and that's not just for English. That's for every language that exists. It's been agreed upon by a lot of language studies and language learning systems. And as long as you understand that you need to put in an equal amount of effort into all of those together, so read a book, read material from that thing. For writing, pick up a pen and paper. I know it's a little bit outdated these days with all of the digital ways of learning and writing languages like that, but pick up a piece of pen and paper, write out a little bit of what you hear, what you heard, which builds on to Marcelo's point of listening. Listening is extremely important in languages. Copying accents and everything that you hear will make you sound more natural and more like a fluent speaker if you are going for that. And obviously, speaking, making sure that you can speak confidently, and that if you can get people to understand what you are saying, it's already a huge step forward in language learning as a whole.
I would defend your point that you said it's a little bit outdated to write, but there's like scientific papers that mention that your brain works when you write down, although it's not the type of study that I like to do, but it works for some people. And I don't know, because if you learn something and you write it down, it's like your brain is revisiting that topic the second time. Like you learn and then you write, and then your brain is processing the information while you write it. It's not my favorite, like personally for me, Eduardo, but like I know that
Yeah,
helps a lot of
obviously,
people.
people learn in different ways. There are visual learners. There are so many types of learners that will learn things in different ways. So I do think writing has its core value. Like obviously, you learn how to write at a young age from your mother tongue, your native language, and learning to express that in another language is one of the key steps into truly becoming fluent.
And also,
And
there's
what
a lot of things you can get away with when you are just talking. There's a lot of things that get misheard and stuff, and you can just like, oh yeah, maybe I said it. But when you write, like you can clearly see where your mistakes are.
Exactly. And I noticed from my students that they, you know, it's way easier for them when they write the things that they want to say or they need to say. And sometimes I even ask them like, maybe try writing this down before speaking. It's gonna help you, and it really does. It really does help.
I was going to mention Marcelo mentioned that one of the biggest mistakes that people make when they practice English is about not having enough listening. Uh, and besides with that, I want to comment about consistency also, which we prepared before. We mentioned that every one of us would bring a different topic, and I just want to bring this topic of consistency to the table, because besides, like, it doesn't matter if you do everything correctly, if you, I don't know, practice, I mean, the right book with the right teacher, with, I don't know, the right accent and everything. But if you stop and I don't know, you spend like 3 months without studying, or even like studying once a week, I think it's gonna be a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. No, it's gonna be a a long way to the top if you wanna learn the language. So what can you guys bring? Let me talk to Akira about that. Consistency, Akira, for the people that you have seen in your life. What is the biggest thing that helps people to be consistent in the language?
I think adding things of whatever you're learning into your daily life obviously can be a huge help. I know there's a lot of families and stuff that like to do like English Sundays or things like that. Just once a week, a thing to make to come out. Sorry, to make everything come together. Um, Maybe a movie or something that you watch. You watch the latest Netflix show. Watch it in English. Watch it in its native language, and see how much you can understand. Words that you can pick out, and all that consistency will come together eventually because you are practicing or putting yourself in a position to learn, to be washed away with all this knowledge of the things that you are observing and experiencing. You know.
It's funny you mentioned the English Sunday, and I remember some. I remember that there are some videos online of people. All right, we started the English breakfast here in my house, and nobody has spoken ever since. So, so it's like funny because some people really tried that, but doesn't work really well. But I believe that we should create small environments of immersion, and in my case, I don't know about you guys, I created like my phone was my immersion throughout my English learning processes, because like my phone was in English, the podcasts, the music I was listening was in English, the YouTube videos that I was listening was or watching were in English, and that immersion made me um, slowly get better. What about you, Marcelo? What was the type of process that you did to learn English, to connect your life with the consistency that you needed to speak English?
Honestly, I think it was like not my phone or anything like that. I think just uh, when I would consume any content, I would go for the content and not for English. Like, okay, the content will be, would it be on in English? But it's not like it was not like my main focus. Okay, I need to learn English. I need to study. No, I'm just there because I want to learn. Let's say this video is about space. I don't know about like distance galaxies and stuff, so I'll just be there to try to learn something. And like the language was just like a bridge between what I wanted to learn and me. So English to me was always like something, a tool. It was a tool, something that I could use to learn more, to consume different content. It was honestly just a tool for me. I was never like, okay, let me just study like grammar and stuff and write down stuff. Oh, no, it's just, okay, let me just try to use this. Let me just try to understand. But again, not because of English, because I'm interested in whatever I was watching at the time.
And to wake up Nicholas, that he was sleeping, I guess. But
No, I pay more attention when
I
like,
was just like paying more attention. Good,
yeah.
very interesting. I would try your meditation skills. What is like for you that why like what is the biggest mistake that people make when they learn English?
I think may not be the biggest, but one of that I see the most is that they when they are facing words they don't know, they try to assume what they mean using their mother tongue. Like I have lots of students that when they face, and sometimes I don't know if they're like, embarrassed to ask what they mean. Like maybe they think it's a simple word, and I should know this. Sometimes students are like this. I have like more talkative students that they ask everything, and others don't. So sometimes you see students like trying to assume things, which may jeopardize the process of learning how to, you know, I don't want to say properly translate things, but you understand things first. So
Got it.
that's one thing that I see like very, very often. And I think it's one of that, you know, I don't want to say bothers me, but it's like that I feel that it hurts more the students' learnship of what they're doing.
And when we change roles, it's crazy because we can't imagine what goes through their heads when they do that. Because like they are in a one-way street, and this is what they know what to say. Like if you need to say a word in English, you think, okay, in my mother tongue is this, so if I translate, it's okay. And they don't know any other option. One, they don't know it's wrong. Two, they don't know other options, so they do that, and it's a mistake that we should be aware that it will happen.
Yeah.
And it's common, but it's interesting that usually the first it's their first way out, it's translating exactly from their mother tongue.
Yeah, and it
Well,
happens a lot with phrasal verbs too. Like
yeah.
we have ones like fall down, which like, all right, yeah, fall down, okay. But then we have like you have
Step up.
to, yeah, you have to step up. Like, am I going where?
Or even make out, which can mean
Yeah,
make up and make out. Make is crazy because they can create a lot of different phrasal verbs, and
exactly.
it's crazy. I don't even want to start at this topic because it's a topic for another podcast.
It's another
Akira,
podcast. Yeah.
it's another podcast theme. Akira, can you go ahead and wrap up your opinion from today's podcast? The biggest, one of the biggest mistakes, and your final considerations for this podcast today.
I mean, we discussed a lot of things, mostly focusing on listening is really important. Understanding all concepts of a language is really important, and relying on your native language is not always the best thing. Obviously, we've got very trick verbs, especially in English as well. Like to Portuguese, for example, they have like to pretend, to embarrass, that you think will mean something, but they mean something completely different, and it catches everybody. It caught us off guard probably when we were learning English, and obviously it's going to catch like our students. Um, but we try to do our best, and this was how mistakes that you probably make and we have made while learning English today.
What about you, Marcelo? What is your wrap up of today's podcast
Of
about
all
the
topics or just
biggest
mine?
mistakes? Like about everything, like all topics, and also your topic too.
Okay, so yeah, basically, I think Akira said it all. Like while learning English, you have a lot of different aspects you need to focus on. So like you need to distribute everything. Every like imagine that you have like some skill points, and you are like upgrading your character. You need
Yes.
to
Like a The
balance
Sims
everything,
character.
every skill.
I
Yeah,
was
you
gonna
need to
use that
balance everything.
example.
Good definition. I like this metaphor.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that's basically it. Like don't focus too much on one thing, and don't try don't think about English as a language. Oh, okay, I'm listening to a podcast in English, so I'm there to learn the English. No, I'm there because of the content of the well, in this case, like the content of the podcast, it is how to improve at English. But like let's say you were watching like I don't know, a podcast about business, about something else. Just try to focus on the content, and English will come as a natural thing. You will figure out stuff along the way. So yeah, that's
And
basically it.
to add up to what you said, you mentioned that focus on the content and not the language will make the consistency easier, because like as you're having fun while you do that because you like the content and the content is in English, you will see it more often, and then you will learn more the language, and then it's going to be like a journey where you enjoy the process, not the destination. And what differentiates the people that learn the language from those who don't is that you need to enjoy the journey and not the process. and sorry, we need to enjoy the journey and the process and not the destination. And a lot of people want the destination, and that's why they don't have fun when they learn English. And every class that they have to come up is like a problem. It's
Like a
like
chore.
is like a
Yeah,
chore.
English is the
And
friends we made along the way.
I
English is
used
the
to
friends we made along the way.
English is the
Cue the
friends we made
friends
along the way.
intro.
Exactly that. So it's like I remember when I was studying, I was treating the days like that I didn't have classes. They were the days that I was like training for the big day. So and the big day was my class day where I could talk to my classmates and like put the words I was practicing throughout the week to practice to see if they would understand, to see if the teacher would see and say good job or something like that. I was like training for the game. And nowadays for most of the students, for most of the English learners, the class is the game. The class is the training. Like the other days are most nothing. So that's pretty much it. So, what about you, Nicholas, to wrap up this podcast about the biggest mistakes people make when learning English?
Yeah, like I was gonna use Marcelo's example of an RPG character building. Just don't focus every skill point on strength, bro. Try to one thing that helps is setting like little goals. So today I'm gonna work on my speech. Today I'm gonna work on my listening. If I do that, then I can do the next one, and step by step you're getting there. So don't try to rush things.
One day at a
Enjoy the
time.
process. Yeah, exactly. Enjoy the process. Learning English, talking like by my perspective of when I learned it, was fun to me. Like learning, discovering new things. And I think that's what you should embrace for yourself. Like make it happen. I don't want to say faster, but in a more pleasant way, I believe.
All right. With that beautiful sentence from teacher Nicholas, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on the links on the description to study with one of these beautiful teachers that you can see here on YouTube. And I hope you guys come here to listen to our podcast next week. If we have a podcast next week, we have to see. So thanks a lot for joining. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share this episode with your friends. And see you later. Thanks a lot. Bye.